Okay, hello everyone. I am hopping on here live, unplanned, really, because of just things that are happening in the grooming industry right now that I think are very important that should not be overlooked, and it's literally happening right now. Current affairs. So I'm gonna see if maybe I can do a screen share here uh, to show what it is I'm talking about here. So Biju's law. I'm gonna see if I can do a screen share. Screen share. Application window, Biju's law, perfect. Okay, so let me just screen share this. Oh, okay, so you can kind of see. So what it is? It's New Jersey's currently has a bill called Biju's law, and this law is actually this is 3 years old. That they've been working on this for 3 years now. The backstory is a lady took her dog named Biju to get groomed, and her dog died within 45 minutes of her dropping her dog off. And she can't go into the details because she settled out of court with the company. So she's not allowed to go into the details of it. But another similar thing happened similar to this. Okay. Something similar to that happened in California, where I think it was a senator's dog died in one of the pet salons there in California, and it was called like Senate Bill 914 or something like that. But they tried to get a bill passed that would require pet groomers to be licensed and regulated by the state and the veterinarian board of the state. But groomers all got together, fought it, and they were able to stop it from being passed. Now, uh, they a lot more cases have come out of dogs dying, getting injured, things like that in grooming shops. Dr. Oz even came out with something. Oh, you know what? I can't see the comments coming in. Oh, okay, let me pause that. Okay, if there's any comments coming in. No comments coming in yet. Okay, so. Okay. Jar of Salt says, "Hi, June. This is the first stream of yours I've been to. It's nice to meet you. Also, it's sad. It's so sad that a dog died during a grooming. I'm not sure how this happens. It's awful. Yeah, it is very sad that this happened. This is happening. Let me see here if I can. Okay. Okay, perfect. Sorry, guys. I didn't have any of this prepared. I just wanted to jump on real quick and address this because I shared this on my Facebook page, during the Groomers Facebook page. I shared a video from Biju's Bill's Facebook page, just addressing what started all of this and why they're trying to get this bill passed that would require pet groomers to be licensed. Now, I've been getting a lot of pushback, a lot of people, groomers, arguing very emotionally, even getting upset, and saying that they don't want the government telling us how to groom our dogs. But I don't think that that's what this bill is about. This bill is about safety and sanitation and being knowledgeable about the dogs that we're grooming. Grooms by Nicole says, "Hi June, glad you're talking." Hey Nicole, and I'm well aware that I may lose a lot of. Some people even told me straight up that they're not gonna follow my page anymore because I'm supporting this bill. Now, I'm not saying that this bill is perfect, but that's the thing is, like, if we wait around for the perfect bill, it's never gonna happen. Now let's just read this bill. I just want to. Okay. Let me screenshot this so that people can see where they can find this bill and read it. Application window. Okay, share this. Present to everyone. So this is a screenshot of the page that I'm on that you can find the bill. It's www.bijusbill.com /WP content /uploads /2008 /10 Biju's bill 2008.pdf. That was long, but anyways, just in case you can't see that on the screen there. So this is what I'm reading from. Okay, now, okay, number one, an act providing for the licensing of pet groomers and the registration of certain. Oh, let's see this. Okay. Of certain businesses designated as Biju's law. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Let me just get into like this act shall be known shall be known and may be cited as the Pet Groomers Licensing Act, in quotes, quote, Pet Groomers Licensing Act. As used in this act, quote, board means the New Jersey State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners and pet groomers. It has pet groomers there as well. So maybe pet groomers who are already certified national master groomers, under other certifying organizations. Maybe they, are meaning like once they're licensed, once they pass the exam, I don't know. But anyways, so I understand a lot of groomers are saying they're having a problem because this bill is so vague. Yeah, it is vague. Saying board means the New Jersey State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners and pet groomers. Okay, so they could go maybe into a little more detail of how they're going to select, the board members. But still, okay, we have a board. That's the point, right? 14. Pet, quote, pet means any animal placed in the care of a pet groomer for grooming or styling. That's pretty specific enough. Pet means any animal placed in the care of a pet groomer for styling or grooming. Pet groomer, okay, so pet groomer means an individual licensed as a pet groomer who engages in pet grooming. Then they go on. Pet grooming means it includes but not limited to the act of bathing, brushing, clipping, or styling a pet. Okay, simple enough. Registered student means a person who is engaged in learning and acquiring knowledge. Okay, it goes on. So, they have to be enrolled in a program of instruction at a licensed school of pet grooming. School means an establishment place licensed by the board to be maintained for the purpose of teaching. Okay, so they go ahead and define everything. Pet student is going to be someone who goes to a pet school. School means an establishment licensed by the board. Okay, so they define all of that. And then they go to explain that this is created within the Division of Consumer Affairs, Department of Law, Public Safety, Board of Pet Groomers. Remember? Okay. Of the remaining, so it goes into detail about the board shall consist of 9 members who are residents of the state. 3 or 2 shall be public members. 2 of whom shall be appointed pursuant. Okay, so then they go into detail about how they're going to pick the 9 members. So, okay, good. So now we understand. 3 or 4 shall be pet groomers who, except for those first appointed, shall be, okay, so except for the ones first appointed to be on this board, once they establish the board, any other pet groomer that is going to be appointed to be on the board shall be licensed pursuant to the act. So that's what they're saying. So the first few pet groomers that are chosen to be on the board, there is no licensing in effect at that point. So I guess they're just part of the board. But then once the licensing program is in effect, then any other pet groomer that's going to be a part of this board would have to be licensed through this act. Okay, so that makes sense. Members of the board shall be appointed by the governor and, except for the executive branch member, shall serve for terms of 3 years with no member serving for more than 2 consecutive terms. Okay, so 6 years max. I like that, so no one person can, have too much control for too long. The board may take action only by affirmative vote of no less than 5 members. Okay, the board may take action only by affirmative vote of no less, so at least 5 members have to vote for the board to take an affirmative action. Members shall serve without compensation, but shall receive annual and necessary expenses. Shall receive actual and necessary expenses. So no members are actually going to get paid a salary. They just get probably reimbursed for expenses, traveling expenses, and things like that. Shall receive actual necessary expenses. So I like that. So because I think that anytime money is involved, and anytime it's being done in order to make money, and someone's income is involved, someone's way of making money is this, I think then there's a conflict in interest, an obvious conflict in interest. And then you start getting people who are going to try to get elected, try to get nominated, appointed into the board. But if you just take that out, then there is no money incentive involved in being a part of the board. Mary Orr says, "Hi June, love your channel. Awesome. Groomers by Nicole. If we groomers could get it together and stop with the fighting then we could regulate ourselves. Exactly. Unfortunately, we can't. So it has to be done. It will be done for us. And Grooms by Nicole, someone was saying like, oh, the system we have is working. It's like, no, it's not. How many more dogs need to die before we actually admit to ourselves what we're willing to say? Maybe the system we have right now is not working. You know, one more dog, two more dogs. Is it five more dogs dying? Is when we're going to draw the line? I say enough dogs have died already. Dr. Ozzy pointed it out. Enough dogs have died, and enough is enough. We need to do something. And we failed. Let's just be honest. We failed. And that's why the general public has a mistrust now towards dog groomers. So now we must do what is necessary. We have to get licensed. We have to take these exams made by the veterinarian board of the state to prove that we have knowledge, we're knowledgeable, and we have to gain the public trust back. Let's see here. Jar of salt. I plan to become a veterinarian, also groom dogs, and I would love to be more educated on how to groom and to do it safely as a pet owner. Let's see here. As a pet owner, I would feel more comfortable with a licensed groomer. Exactly, me too. Daisy like the flower. What state is this, or is it all? It's New Jersey. Crystal, of course, is New Jersey. MG's, hi June, love your videos and instructions. Learn so much from you. This is not a career for me, but I do this with my own dogs. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the bill here because there's a lot to go through. Okay, so the board shall review qualifications of applicants for licensure under this act, ensure proper conduct of standards. So basically, a lot of the things that, if you're already a member of the ISCC or the National Dog Grooming Association or IP, if you're a member of any of these voluntary certifying organizations, this is not news to anybody. Here's one though. Maintain a record of every pet groomer license in the state and the date and number of license, published a list of names, addresses, and all licenses annually, which is great. People can go on that website and find licensed groomers in their area. No person shall attempt to practice, or hold himself out as being able to practice pet grooming unless that person is licensed in accordance with provisions. That's what I love. Now that gets rid of people calling themselves pet groomers, or offering any kind of pet grooming services on Craigslist for $25 when they have no clue what they're doing. This takes care of all of that. It actually makes it illegal in the state of New Jersey to call yourself a pet groomer if you're not licensed, to accept money compensation for your services unless you're licensed in New Jersey. I like that because then that gets rid of all the backyard groomers. Okay. To be eligible to be licensed as a pet groomer, an applicant shall fulfill the following requirements: be at least 18 years of age. Perfect. Be of good moral character. Yes, right? I mean, that's a given. Pass an examination prepared by or approved by the board, determine the applicant's competence to practice pet grooming. I love that. So all you have to do is just be 18 years of age, be of moral character, which I'm pretty sure they mean do a background check. Because if you have any kind of history of animal abuse, neglect, anything like that on your record that's recent. I mean, I have a felony on my record. I have a DUI, but that was over 15 years ago. That was when I was like 19 years old. I'm 37. Okay, so I have no problem admitting that to a board. If I had to go in front of a board and let them know, yeah, I messed up when I was 19. I got a DUI. I'm sorry, But since then, I've been clean. I still drink, but anyways, my point is, all you have to do is be 18, be of good moral character, and pass an examination prepared by or approved by the board to determine your competence. Okay. Oh, okay. That's Christopher. I was like, oh my goodness, I got a ghost back here. Oh, my cat. The examination required by subsection C, active practical demonstration, written test. Okay, kind of like driving, like a driver's license test, a written exam and a practical exam. Not bad. And what I love is the examination required by subsection of this act will be held within the state at least 4 times a year at a time and place to be determined by the board. The board may contract or otherwise arrange for reasonably required physical accommodations and facilities to conduct examinations. So basically, they're saying 4 times a year they'll have these examinations, and you can go and take the test 4 times a year. the board may, I mean, you only have to take it once a year and renew, and then, every year following that. The board may, by regulation, establish standards and procedures to provide the written test to be offered via internet. So you can take the written test over the internet, and practical demonstration portion of the examination to be offered throughout the year to an applicant under the aegis of a licensed pet groomer. Okay. So they're even saying that you can do the practical demonstration portion of the exam under the I guess supervision of a licensed pet groomer. I mean, so they're giving lots of options here, which I think is, I mean, all you have to do is just get this license, and you don't have to worry about getting certified, becoming a certified national groomer, because literally that costs thousands. If you add in all the travel costs of the trade shows and everything, you're looking at thousands of dollars to become a certified master groomer. But this way, you just take a test by the state, and if as long as you pass the requirements and you pay for the license, which is, let's see this here. The board shall develop the pet grooming curriculum to be used in the schools, shall collaborate with the schools to utilize industry best practices and standards. Yeah, I mean, I'm having trouble finding anything about this bill that I don't agree with. Let's see here. All pet groomer and school licenses shall be issued for a 2-year period and shall be renewed upon filing a renewal application. So it's good for 2 years, right? All applicants shall pay a fee of $75 for licensure and $50 for renewal for licensure. So $75, that's good for 2 years. You renew for $50. So that's the thing. I would much rather do this and stay licensed and keep taking my tests and exams and everything like that. So much more affordable. My mom even asked me, why aren't you certified? And I told her I can't afford it. The tests are like $125 a test. And you got to take like 4 or 5 of them just to hit like the first level, first tier. It's like, I don't have thousands of dollars to spend like that and travel to these trade shows, plus I have a really busy schedule. I really should be getting to sleep. But anyways, I just don't have time to, first of all, to commit to travel to the trade shows and all these places where they're certifying and testing. And also, I just don't see the practical benefit for paying for these certifications, thousands of dollars, when most of my clients don't even know what these organizations are. My clients never ask me, hey, do you have any certifications? So they just assume that we're licensed, and they're shocked when they find out that we're not. So I think the only people that really are pushing back on this are the people that have something to lose. And those are the people who are involved in these voluntary certifying organizations, because they're making so much money having these groomers test all the time, because we have no other options. We have nowhere else to go, but now if every state starts to license their groomers, we just have to get licensed by our state, and we don't have to fool around with all the certifications. Certifications for what? Just to prove that I know how to write a check to someone. Anyways, I shouldn't go there. Okay, so so $75 for the fee for the license, $50 to renew. Provision, school, individual. Okay, an individual engaged in performing grooming services while not enrolled in a school, if the individual is at least 16 years of age, performs those services in direct supervision of a licensed pet groomer, and while training and preparation. Yeah, so I mean, they're even allowing room for apprenticeships. And you can be 16, as long as you're learning under a licensed groomer. No business shall engage in pet grooming as a business, service, or advertise or hold itself out as offering pet grooming services unless the business is currently registered with the board and meets all the requirements. Yeah, exactly. So now we can't just have they pop up businesses. Like for the past few years, I've just been shocked at how many grooming businesses are popping up everywhere. I drive by a dozen grooming shops every day when I'm on my way to my client's house. It's like, where did all these grooming shops pop up from? It's like, I think we're going to see a lot less of that once we start getting regulated by the government. Much needed. All right, let's see how many people are mad at me now. Clay Reza, being a new groomer myself, I'm for this bill. Perfect. I totally feel like I'm not being trained correctly how to handle dogs. I'm a huge animal lover, but I face some unfortunate situations with dogs. Exactly. The other day I try no, the other day I cut a dog. I cried and it felt horrible. All my bosses cared about was that she wasn't going to be able to charge the lady for the exactly and for the groom and get a bad review. So many of these newer groomers know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that the grooming industry is not very nice, you know. And the reason why I felt so passionately about saying something and teaching people how to groom their dogs at home by themselves was because of the things I saw at grooming shops. Groomers losing their tempers, losing control of themselves, getting too rough with the dogs. Um, let's see here. MG, training is important, yes, and education is important. It's like I think a lot of groomers. One groomer was saying, as a groomer of 20 years, like I find it offensive that I have to step back and take a test, an exam. It's like if you're too proud, if you can't put your ego and your pride aside, and because you've been grooming for 20 years, you feel like you're above test taking, that you don't have to take a test, then maybe it's time for you to retire. Seriously, I'm just being trying to be clear here. Maybe it's time for you to retire. Maybe this bill, what it's going to actually do is weed out the groomers that shouldn't even be in the business anyways, the ones that are doing it just for the money, right? It'll weed all of them out. Now, if if you have been grooming for 15, 20 years and you are certified, then what's the big deal? Why not just take another exam and get certified? $75, it's the price of a trade show that we go to these. And that's just the price of admission to a trade show. You know what I'm saying? Never mind the classes, the certification costs, the cost if you want to enter the competitions. And then if you want to just browse around the trade room floor, I mean, there's a huge cash grab right there. It's like a brood of vipers, all there just to take advantage of the new groomers. Anyways, um, I truly, Clint Rizza, I truly feel if I was trained better how to handle dogs like this dog and wasn't under so much stress from my boss, I wouldn't have cut him. Exactly. How do you find practice to pass that exam? If it will be illegal to offer services, what about volunteer work? You can. The thing is, once this law happens, and they're voting on it tomorrow. Literally tomorrow, it's going up for vote in New Jersey. Once it passes, yeah, groomers are gonna have to take this exam. And once it passes, it's not like it's gonna go right into effect and everything's gonna start changing. They're gonna have to actually put the board together, get these nine members together, 3 or 4 of which are gonna be pet groomers. And then they're gonna have to create a test, an exam, a written exam, and then once they have all of that in place, it'll probably be like 2019 or 2020 before we actually see the implementation of this bill, of this law, once it gets passed. So we still have time. And the thing is, you can pick up a book, Small Animal Dermatology by Kirk and Muller. You can just go to the library and pick and request. If they don't have it at your library, you can request that they get these books about the canine skin and coat. And you can just order these books and just start educating yourselves. Get ready for the test. And it's not going to be that hard to pass. I think it's going to be like when I went to go get my liquor license. When I was a bartender, I was a little stressed out about passing that test. But I mean, it's not that easy. It's not that hard. Just okay. So, Crystal Corey, number 2 should be a given, and a love for animals should be a must. Here's Mike Nicole. I also hear there will be a 1-year grace period for current groomers to get licensed after the bill passes. Exactly. Groomers by Nicole. I think that a lot of groomers are overreacting. They're reacting emotionally. And it's like, let's just take our emotions out of this for a second and just read the bill. Let's see what the bill says. And it doesn't really say anything that I disagree with. The one thing that a lot of groomers were disagreeing with is that it requires us to keep an incident report. Anytime a dog is sent to the vet or escapes or, has to be sent home, anytime there's an incident, they want us to fill out an incident report, a form that's going to be approved by the state board. I'm all for it. And they're like, oh, that doesn't protect the dog groomers. Here's why I think that does protect the dog groomers, because if we're all keeping a detailed incident report of these dogs where they're jumping off the tables or something happened, we detail what happened. The owner goes to another groomer and doesn't tell the other groomer anything about this. The other groomer has the same problem. The dog jumps off the table, injures itself. They can go back and say, wait a minute, we have a report from this licensed groomer on this date where your dog did do that. And you didn't tell this groomer here, this another groomer that you knew what we want to, you didn't explain to them that there was this potential hazard. So that, I think it does protect groomers. It'll not only keep groomers accountable, it'll keep the pet owners accountable. Because if they do, jump from groomer to groomer, and they don't tell the next groomer what happened, they're gonna say, "Hey, wait a minute, your dog has had seizures 3 different times at 3 different grooming salons. We have incident reports logged in by the state." You know, I don't see anything wrong with having to keep an incident report. It just keeps us accountable. It keeps us responsible. We should be doing it anyways. Tracy Bergs, are National Certified Master Groomers grandfathered in? No, and that's why a lot of groomers are upset, is because there's not going to be any grandfathering in of any certification programs. But I feel like, who cares? It's a written exam. It's just one written exam and one practical demonstration. Who cares? And then we pay $75 and get a license, and it's good for 2 years. Renewal is only $50. I mean, come on. I really think we're overreacting. Grooms by Nicole at Tracy Bergs. I don't think anyone is to be grandfathered in. Yeah, Nicole, I think you're right. Laura X is applauding. Awesome. Thank you, Laura X. Not that I'm doing this for any applause or anything. I'm not doing this for approval, validation. Some people are like, I'm unfollowing you now. I don't want to say I don't care, because that seems cold, but it doesn't affect me. I don't need your follows. I don't need your subscribe. I don't need you to subscribe. Like, that's not why I'm doing this. I'm just sharing how I genuinely feel. Okay. And if that resonates with you, great. But I don't want to be fake and say things that I don't actually believe because I want more subscriptions and more followers and more likes. I hope that makes sense. I hope that doesn't come off as cold or, like uncaring. Oh, I don't care if you don't subscribe. I appreciate the subscription. Like Laura X, the applaud. I love it. I love the validation. I don't need it though. I hope that's clear. Tracy Burrows, I think the difference between certified and licensed is one is skill based and the other is safety knowledge. Exactly. I'm trying to understand if the bill is for safety or for how to groom. No, it's for safety. And that's all they're really testing on, is the cleanliness. Is your shop clean? Are your tools clean? Do you understand zoonotic, diseases? Do you understand cross-contamination? Do you understand the biology of the dog's skin and coat? I think it's just like when nail technicians, people who do pedicures and manicures, when they get tested, they don't test them on how to color and what colors to use or anything like that. That's all personal preference, your artistic style. They only test them on like the anatomy of the cuticle, the nail, cross-contamination, how to sanitize their tools. That's it. And I think that's exactly what the grooming industry needs. Tracy Bergs, I do house call as well. I think at salons it gets away from building friendships with the pups in the factory in and out. Exactly why I got out of the salons as well. I don't like the whole assembly line type of, they're just a number. We got 12 dogs on the schedule. What are their names? What are they like? I think that matters. I really do. Jar of salt. I had no idea that groomers weren't licensed, right? I think most people are shocked when they hear that New Jersey is the first state that might implement this. We'll see. We'll find out tomorrow for sure. But isn't that crazy? I better lower my voice because everyone's trying to sleep. Lil Bing's Minder. I've been grooming for 36 years, and I've been saying for at least 20 years this was coming. I think this is a wonderful thing, honestly. Me too. Tracy Bergs. I'm excited for regulation. I worked at a vet for 12 years, and I'm so surprised how much groomers don't know about the health side of dogs. Exactly. And the thing is, you only all you have to do is just go to any of these grooming Facebook group pages if you're not already a member. It's actually kind of hard to get accepted into them now. They kind of do some FBI work and make sure you're actually a groomer before they accept you into their Facebook groups. But if you just go through those questions coming in from the newer groomers, you're just like, oh my God, you're getting paid to groom somebody's dog and you don't know this? Well, the thing is, I can't be hypocritical because that was me when I first started. You know, it's like, oh, when I sat through Pam Lauritsen's Best of the Master series, and I took that workshop, and it was the first time I ever even thought about what a dog's paw looked like. I remember the shame that I felt. I felt so ashamed of myself that I've actually been getting paid to groom dogs when I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I thought I knew what I was doing because I would repeat what was being told to me by who was teaching me, but I actually had no clue, you know? Laura X, weed them out. Exactly. They can get practice with apprenticeship. And the thing is, when I was in the car industry, same thing happened. Like around 2009, after the big economic crash, you know, everybody's freaking out. Dealerships were closing left and right, especially independent dealerships, and I was working for one. And I remember telling my boss, I don't think this is a bad thing. I was like, I think this economic crisis is actually a good thing. As long as we stay true to our core principles and values and we deliver real value to our customers, I was like, I think we're going to stand out. And this economic crisis is actually going to weed out all the bad dealerships that should have never been in business in the first place. They won't be able to survive this, you know? And I think that's what's going to be happening to the grooming industry soon. Um, you know, the grooming industry, the groomers who are just set in their ways like dinosaurs, and they're just refusing to learn anything new, any of the new information coming out by the research being done. And I remember one groomer walked out on me and she was like, sorry, I don't know your new scientific way of grooming that you just made up. And I was like, I just made up. Yeah, new scientific what? Like, and I even asked her, I was like, in 16 years, you're telling me that you've never picked up a book about dog grooming? And she had no answer for me. I even remember asking her one time, like I gave her the weekend to just, I was like, you don't even have to watch my YouTube videos. Just watch any YouTube video about dog grooming, you know, by any one of the, you know, big names, Jay Scruggs, Suze Echo, you know, Lisa Leedy. I was like, there's so many good groomers out there, Christina Pulaski, you know, just watch one of their YouTube videos, right? And I was like, it's free. And then after the weekend on Monday, I asked her, hey, did you watch any YouTube videos over the weekend? She goes, no, I had to catch up on my stories. I was like, your stories? Your stories are not going to pay your bills. Like, why would you catch up on your stories? Why not watch a video about grooming? You're a dog groomer for 16 years. You've never, anyways. And that's why I think that voluntary certification is not working. When you make it voluntary, very few are going to do it. And the ones that want to do it, like me, I wanted to be certified. I couldn't because of financial commitment. You know, the price point is just too high. You know, and for what? They haven't. These certifying organizations have not updated their material since like 1964. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it's more like 1940, 1920. I'm just kidding. I mean, more like maybe 1980s. They haven't updated their information since 1980s. But the information's outdated. When I applied, when I you know, paid for membership and I bought some of the study material, when I got the study material compared to how much I paid for it, I was like, construction paper? Are you kidding me? You know, like, what have these certifying organizations really done in the past 4 decades? You know, they, anyways, I can go on and on about how disappointed I am in the leader, quote unquote, leadership in the grooming industry. And I think that because they were complacent, because they defended the status quo, because they're not embracing change, things are just happening to them, you know? Tracy Briggs, thanks for explaining this. I feel so much better about this bill. Grooms by Nicole. I went to cosmetology school before I started grooming. The test was very focused on safety, sanitation, anatomy, and safety using chemicals. I imagine this bill would be the same. Exactly. And Andre Bradshaw, an interesting point about the protection this documentation gives groomers. Oh, Andre, oh my goodness. Thank you for watching, man. Andre is one of my best friends, my go-to guy for like just very engaging, valuable, rewarding back and forth conversation. The ideas that he gives. But anyways, yeah, I just thought that rather than looking at this like, oh, the government's intruding on my privacy, you know, they're just trying to tell me how to run my business. I don't think that's what they're doing with this incident report. I think what they're doing is saying, let's let's create a way to keep track of the incidents that are happening at grooming shops. And that way we can see if this is a pattern that this particular owner's dog is showing, a pattern of behavior, or is it a pattern that's going on with this shop? Is this one shop having more incidents no matter what the dogs are, or is it this one dog jumping from shop to shop that's creating all these incidents? I think there's going to be a way to track that once we're keeping detailed log of the incidents that are happening at our shops. It's gonna actually protect us rather than hurt us. Groomers by Nicole. You want to see a bunch of groomers tear each other apart? Go in any groomers group and ask if they bathe their dogs in Dawn. Exactly. That's why I really, and the thing is, groomers are like, we should wait, wait for what? Wait for groomers to agree? The only thing two groomers are going to agree about is that another groomer is doing it wrong. I mean, you're never going to get groomers to agree. So, and that's the thing. So let's not create regulation and licensing based on how to groom, like how to style. Let's leave that for personal preference, your own artistic interpretation. But we have to agree on safety standards and how to keep track of these incidents that are happening in the grooming shops, how to protect ourselves and the dogs that are coming in. And we have to create some sort of standard that's going to prevent any old drug addict or ex-convict from picking up clippers and putting up an ad on Craigslist calling themselves a pet groomer. It'll be illegal to do that once this bill is passed. Let's see. Groomers by Nick. Amanda Liza. Hi, June. I wouldn't worry about the people that you may lose. You're not. I wouldn't worry about the people you may lose. They are not in this profession for the right reasons. I've been grooming over 30 years and have seen many unsafe practices. In 30 years, I bet you have. Wow, I've only been in this almost 10 years now. And in the short amount of time that I've been grooming, less than a decade, well, almost a decade, I knew something like this was going to happen sooner or later. I was like, how many dogs are gonna be allowed to be injured? Like sooner or later, we're gonna injure the wrong dog. A senator's dog, and that's exactly what happened. Jar of Salt. This is really off topic, but I would love if you could maybe stream video some groom sessions. Leaving them up would be awesome because I'm in school a lot. Good grooming channels are hard to come by. Oh, wow. Jar of Salt, thank you. First of all, thank you for implying that this is a good grooming channel. I'm not sure if that you're implying that, but I'll take it. I take any compliment I can find, baby. But yeah. You know what? I'll see, because a lot of my clients, I can tell that they don't really feel comfortable with me streaming live in their homes. And I'm a house call groomer. I go to their homes and, so I have to be, and the thing is, whenever I ask them if I can stream the groom live, they always say yes because they're nice. But sometimes I can tell that they're just being nice, and so I don't think I'm going to lose my job over it or anything. Of course, I'm still going to be welcome to come and groom their dogs, but I don't know. But then again, there are a few clients who I have where I can tell they really like it. Only a couple though. So yeah, Jar of Salt. I do 2 Bijans tomorrow. She has said yes before. I'll see if I can stream the groom. But also when I stream the groom live, especially when I have during the fall, it slows me down a lot, I'll be honest, because I don't like to just ignore people, especially when the comments come in. So I want to read the comment, I want to engage, I want to answer questions. And so that kind of takes a little bit extra time in the grooming, kind of extends the appointment time. So for the past few weeks, I have been kind of slacking on the social media and streaming and things because I've just been so busy and I just try to get from one appointment to the next. And during the fall, dogs are going through a coat change because of the change in the light. Here's a fun fact. Talk about off-topic, Jar of Salt. One of my clients raises chickens. Oh my God. And she gives us the most amazing eggs that her chickens lay. But she was saying that now that it's getting colder in the wintertime, her chickens will stop laying eggs. And I was like, no way, why? And she was like, because it's cold. They know that their bodies somehow know that baby chickens won't survive in the cold, so they don't lay eggs. And I was like, what if we took them to the other side of the world where it's warm? She was like, they would start laying eggs again. And I was like, so it has nothing to do with the calendar day. It's not because it's December. And she was like, no, Celia, it doesn't have anything to do with the calendar day. It's because of the amount of the change in the sunlight. She was like, everything responds to the sun. And I was like, oh my God, you know, but the same thing with the dog's skin, it responds to the sun. So because we're having a change in the sun now, their coat is going to go through, their skin is going to kind of change out their undercoat. So it's just taking a little extra time during the fall. And I knew that it happens every year as we plan for it. But that's why during the fall, I don't really have a lot of time to stream and things like that. My shoulders, you know. Anyways, Amanda Lizard, I have also seen shops so dirty they should never be open. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Keep up the positive goals. 100%. Amanda, when I was going around to get to different grooming shops in Arizona to apply, there was a couple shops I walked out. I walked in, I walked out. You know, I was like, how can they stand it in there? Anyways, and yeah, you know, the thing is when you watch Gordon Ramsay, Kitchen Nightmares, you know, Chef Gordon, first thing he does goes into the refrigerator, goes into the cooler. He wants to see the heart of the kitchen. How clean is the fridge? How fresh is the food? How clean is the stove? You know, how clean is your oven? These are the things that he fixes first. Then he teaches them how to cook a good dish. You see what I'm saying? How to groom the dog and style them and make them look nice is just the icing on the cake. But the real cake, you know, the real meat is how clean is your shop? How clean are your tools? How fresh is your inventory, your product? You know, you don't want to keep outdated, expired shampoos and things like that. So I think that this bill is very necessary. Tracy Burrows, can we also put pelted dogs on the incident report for the state to keep track of the abuse? I think so. I think this is a perfect example of how groomers can protect ourselves. Not only should we write a detailed account of what this pelted dog looks like and the discomfort and what we're going through, but we can take pictures and videos and maybe even log that in. You know, and that way we can have a detailed incident report of a matted dog that we had to shave down. And then when they try to go to a different groomer and a different groomer and a different groomer, and they start accusing the groomers, we can say, no, no, no. When you check the state board, there's an incident report for your dog from each of these locations. This is a pattern, you know. Don't blame it on the groomers, you know. And I think this is a great way for groomers to protect ourselves. Grooms by Nicole. My favorite story to tell people to explain how unregulated the grooming industry is. I worked for a mobile grooming company for 3 months that never asked me if I had a driver's license. Oh my God. Jar of salt. Oh, you don't need to worry about streaming that much then. Don't do anything that will stress you out too much or harm your productivity. P.S. I was definitely implying that you're a great grooming channel. Thank you so much, Jar of salt. Crystal LaCroix. Is this going to allow someone to come into shops and do inspections like a nail hair salons? I think it would only be at the time your shop is getting licensed, right? It's like because when I had a shop downtown, obviously we had to get the business license, you know, for tax purposes and, you know, for revenue, the revenue department. But then, oh yeah, we also had to file with the state Secretary of State as a business LLC. And then we had to get a permit from the Department of Agriculture. And that's all we needed, really. There was no other requirement from the state. But the Department of Agriculture, all they did was they came in, they looked around, they're like, it's clean in here. And they're like, okay, how many dogs are you going to have? Okay, you have cages. The cages are clean. Okay. And I wrote them a check and I got the permit. You know, I mean, it was that simple. But I'm thinking, I don't know if it's going to be that different. You know, if you have a clean shop, that is. I mean, I worked very hard to have my shop very spick and span clean. You know, I even slept on the floors even, you know. So I made sure the shop was clean. But if you have a dirty shop, I imagine the inspection wouldn't really go that smoothly. Jar of salt. To be honest, this is making me want to move to New Jersey. Yeah, right. I mean, the thing is, I don't think we need to move to New Jersey. I think once New Jersey puts this in place, I think all the other states are going to start to follow. It's just going to be a domino effect. And that's why I'm going to try to find out how I can get in touch with our state legislatures, our representatives, whoever it is that's going to be in charge of putting a bill together here in Georgia that would require groomers to be licensed, and I want to see if I can be in the front end and actually offer some suggestions and offer some of my opinions, and see if we can maybe help guide the licensing, rather than just have it happen to us. Let's see if we can be proactive about it. Crystal LaCroix, is this going to allow someone to come? Yeah, okay, we already read that. Perfect. And so Biju's bill, let's just go back and see the final. Okay, here's the thing. What we were talking about. Every pet grooming business shall maintain a pet incident file report to be submitted annually to the board, no later than 10 days after the date of incident. So you have 10 days after something happens to turn in a report for it in a form as may be prescribed by the board, which shall contain the following information: pet injury sustained while at the facility that required veterinary contact. You know what? Let me just screen share this real quick because this is good information. Application window, that one. Let's share it. Present to everyone. See that? So these are what they would classify as injury that would require veterinary contact: severe pet illnesses, veterinary treatment plans relevant to the pet grooming procedure processes, pet deaths and escapes. For the purposes of this section, incident may mean any event in which the skin of any pet or person is broken. And I think that means if a dog bites the groomer as well. A pet sustains an injury of any kind during the course of a grooming session, or a pet has an allergic reaction during okay. I mean, that's fair enough, right? The board may suspend or revoke or fail to renew the registration of any business offering pet grooming upon proof showing that by a preponderance of the evidence that the business has made false or misleading statements. I mean, so you can read the rest on the website there, because I don't like being read to, so I'm not going to read to you guys, but I don't, okay, if you fail to demonstrate proof of having general liability insurance, you can an unconditional irrevocable letter of credit of a type, any amount required by the board, or if you fail to comply with provisions of section, every holder of a license or registration issued by the board shall display it to the public. Here's one thing I really liked. Okay, this is what I really wanted to get to. So the board shall establish and undertake a public information campaign to educate and inform the consumers of this state of the provisions of this act. The public information campaign shall include, but not be limited to, the preparation, printing, and distribution of booklets, pamphlets, and/or other written pertinent information. The board shall provide a toll-free phone number for consumers making inquiries or complaints regarding pet groomers or pet grooming businesses. Accountability. But here's what I really like. Not that last part. That last part I know scares some groomers. Like, oh, there's going to be a toll-free number. People are going to call and just complain about us. I mean, that's happening on Yelp anyways, and a lot of times what we can do is ask, what am I doing that's attracting these kind of people that are complaining a lot? What am I doing that's attracting this, to me? Because there are people that just like to complain and put out bad reviews, but I don't attract them to my business. They don't show up on my schedule. So you can ask yourself, what is it that I can change about my business model? Maybe the screening questions that I'm asking, to qualify my clients, see if I even want to do business with them, But I want to screen share this just because I think it's so important, because this is where I believe that the certifying organizations failed what they failed to do. If they had done this, I think we would have never gotten to this point. If they were to undertake a public information campaign to educate and inform the consumers of what proper dog grooming really is, and the public campaign shall be limited to the preparation, like I just don't, I can't think in the last 10 years that I've been grooming, I can't think of a single example of when the National Dog Grooming Association of America or the ISCC or the IPG or any of these grooming, so I can't think of a single time where they came to the aid of a groomer that was being attacked or even being, facing legal charges of like mishandling dogs and things like that. But they were members of, this organization, and the organization steps up and protects this groomer. I've never heard of this happening, or any of these organizations running a campaign to educate the public on, what it is, dog groomers do and how important it is, what kind of questions to ask, things like that, how to maintain your own dog's coat, why regular grooming is so important, what kind of diseases and infections and skin conditions that it prevents, all of these things that they could have done to help educate the public. Then the public would say, oh, this groomer is certified with the NDGAA. I've heard about them. They require this kind of stuff. And it would actually draw clients to the groomers that are certified with your organization. But when I had my shop and I had both logos, I had to pay for them, by the way, because they give you a little printout of their logos where you can pay and make your own decals. Anyways, so I paid, had them blown up, made decals for my windows. People walking by had no clue. They were like, is this a dog grooming school? What is this? Like, what is the National Dog Grooming Association? They never heard of any of these organizations. And I had to explain, it's not really a dog grooming school. These are organizations, they're voluntary certifications. It means this and that. I mean, it's like, and you're just like chasing them, they don't care. So I think that's really where the certifying organizations failed, is they were too busy collecting the money from people paying for these certifications, and they didn't pay enough attention to actually educating the public on why these certifications were important. Let's see here. Andre, I wonder why the current non-governmental certificate organizations have not identified this opportunity for protection via incident reports. Because I believe there's nothing in it for them. They're screwed financially now, because now all I got to do is pay $75 and I'm licensed by the state, and now I'm credible, and I don't have to go through all these certifications and these testings and all this voluntary stuff. Well, then why would I? I didn't have to before. Now I really don't have to. And I think a lot of groomers are going to feel the same way, and then they're going to go out of business. So of course they're going to fight this bill. Grooms by Nicole, love the reports. Now we have an issue too. Exactly. Grooms by Nicole. Now we have an issue too with people bringing dogs with serious health conditions to groomers, but denying knowing their dog was sick when their dog died because there's no documentation otherwise. Exactly. Now we actually have a way to document it and protect ourselves. and just let's just say that I have a dog that I haven't groomed before. My first time grooming it. He's old. He's got all these problems. While I'm grooming him, he has a seizure and dies. Owner tries to blame me, right? Now the state board goes through and looks back on this file and finds out there was another incident where this dog had a seizure, but they revived him, and all this other stuff. And then they look at the vet records and they find out that this dog actually had this pre-existing condition, but the owner never told me about it. Well, then that protects me, right? I think these incident reports are actually going to protect us rather than hurt us. Okay. Jar of salt. Got to go now. It was nice to talking. Oh, perfect. About this amazing bill. I mean, okay, maybe calling it amazing is a stretch. Maybe it's not an amazing bill, but it's something to start with, right? It's something to start with. At least it's a step in the right direction, Andre Bradshaw, good point, Nicole. Yes, exactly. Awesome. Well, it's almost 11:30. It's past 11 now. I really got to get going. Thank you guys so much for jumping on and joining me. I mean, I really appreciate this. I honestly, I couldn't let this go. I had to say something about this, especially because on my Facebook, a lot of groomers are. So basically, I said this. I said to one lady, because she was saying this is going to shut down a lot of small businesses, and I said that if a grooming business has to shut down because of this bill, because you have to get licensed, then maybe that business shouldn't have been in business in the first place, And then she said, so by your statement, you're saying that I shouldn't be in business because I have a mobile van and I don't have kennels in my mobile van because it's one-on-one. So the bill says, if you have to inspect your place and you have to have safe kennels, she was like, since I don't have kennels in my mobile unit, I can't get a license, and now my business is going to be shut down. And she's like, you're okay with that? It's like, of course I'm not okay with that. And if you read the bill says you have to have structurally sound cages that are clean for the dogs being groomed. Quote, for the dogs being groomed. If you don't have other dogs being groomed, there's no need for other cages. You know, so you said it yourself. You're one-on-one. You don't have any other dogs waiting. Why would you need a cage? Why would you need kennels? You know, read the bill doesn't say that you're not going to get a license if you don't have clean kennels. It's saying that you're not going to get a license if your kennels are not structurally sound and if they're not clean, you know, for the dogs being groomed. Anyways, so Groomers by Nicole, bye June, bye everybody. Morgan Nelson, great info. Thanks for going in depth with it. Morgan, you're welcome. And Morgan is another groomer. You've been grooming what, 16 years, right, Morgan? He was an instructor at the Nash Academy. Morgan Nelson, everybody, just wanted to give a little shout out. He's up in North Georgia. Amazing groomer, amazing person. But again, he's a certified groomer with the National Dog Grooming Association, I believe, right, Morgan? But it's like, how come I'm not gonna go into it. I just, just what I'm saying is that, like Nicole said, if the grooming industry did a better job of regulating ourselves and keeping ourselves accountable, and not just focus so much on just making money, like that's all it really was. That's why I stopped going to the trade shows. Like I go to the trade shows and I'm just let down every single time. Just like they're teaching the same things they taught last year, and they're charging, like, and you just walk around the trade show floor and it's like, like a brood of vipers in here, like they're just taking advantage of these young groomers with all this enthusiasm. Anyways, if I just think that we've let the public down. Let's just be honest, right? I mean, I think to say otherwise is almost delusional. We've let the public down as an industry. Dogs should not have been dying in our care, right? Or being injured, severely injured, burned, cut, These things should not have gotten so out of hand like they did. As an industry, we let that happen. So as an industry, I think that rather than react emotionally and try to fight this and get all angry, because that just makes us look even more petty, let's respond to this responsibly, calmly, and just really take a look at the bill and see what we can work with. One person was like saying, oh, so, since your house call and you have no facility for them to inspect, you're going to lose you won't be able to be licensed. And I was like, there are vets that make house calls. There are human doctors that make house calls. I would just find out how they do it and go around that way. And if for some reason, because of this law, I can no longer make house calls, I don't mind. I'll adjust. Maybe I'll set up another shop, a really inexpensive one, small time, just to start with. Or maybe I'll go work at someone else's shop, a licensed shop, and I'll be licensed and everybody will be licensed, right? I'm willing to adjust, but I feel like we need some sort of regulation. We need some sort of accountability in our industry. It's been like the wild, wild west, for real. Anything goes, and dogs have been dying, and I think it's time for it to end. Time to prove the public that we are professionals and raise the bar. Exactly. And one groomer was telling me, vets already look down on us, like, you think they're going to make it fair for us? You think they're going to make the testing fair? Why would they not? And plus, I think that having a veterinary board make the test, right? Make the exam, written exam portion, along with the 3 or 4 groomers who are on the board, and passing that written exam, I think it would totally get rid of the whole problem with vets looking down on us. Vets probably look down on us because they feel like we have no idea what we're doing, but now if we pass a test that they put together, they're not only going to respect us, they're going to want to work with us even more. It's just going to raise the bar. Doctors are licensed. Everybody, every profession that is respected is licensed. I think the grooming is no different. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time, and I hope everybody has a great day tomorrow. Let's see how this bill goes. Maybe tomorrow night I'll stream again with an update of what actually happened with this bill.